Adrian Newey has finally broken his silence, and what Aston Martin just revealed about the AMR26 could determine whether this season ends in disaster or begins one of Formula One's greatest comebacks. This isn't just another mid-season upgrade. While every other team chased small improvements, Aston Martin sacrificed months of results to secretly develop a radical new package. But despite revealing almost every major change, Newey refused to answer the one question every Formula One fan wants to know. How much faster is the new AMR26? And with Fernando Alonso's future hanging in the balance, what Aston Martin has built behind closed doors could change everything. Let's break it all down. That question is the one this channel is built around too. Chasing something real, one step at a time. Racing Perspectives is working toward 500 subscribers, and that number is not just a target. It is a community forming lap by lap. Every subscription is a small, real step toward the finish line, the same way Aston Martin is betting an entire season on one deliberate step rather than a season of small ones. Aston Martin sits 10th in the Constructors' Championship. Across 8 Grand Prix weekends, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll combined for 9 retirements and 1 non-classified finish, with Miami the only race in which both cars reached the checkered flag. The team's single point of the season came from Alonso's finish in Monaco. At Silverstone, Alonso qualified P22 and Stroll P21, more than a second and a half off the next slowest car on the grid. Before the British Grand Prix even began, Alonso's car shut down on the formation lap. He managed to restart it, but could not rejoin the field ahead of the safety car line and was forced to start from the pit lane instead. Team principal Mike Crack later said the team needed to investigate the cause. Alonso is a 2-time world champion. When a driver of that caliber cannot lift a car out of the bottom 2 rows on the grid, the limitation is not the man behind the wheel. It is the machine underneath him. Aston Martin released a long interview with Adrian Newey on the team's own website ahead of the British Grand Prix. There was no blaming of regulations or misfortune. Newey admitted the team had made mistakes in how it approached the start of this new regulatory era. I was not 100% last year, Newey said. I had to balance health and work much more carefully. He added a line that captured the entire season in 5 words. It never rains, but it pours. This year, Newey holds 2 titles at once, managing technical partner and team principal, meaning the person explaining the car's failures is also the person who designed it. Aston Martin's Silverstone factory traces its history back to 1991, when the operation entered Formula One as Jordan Grand Prix. Newey said there were structural areas of the team that were not functioning correctly, built up over decades under different ownership and different priorities. He pointed to a specific and less visible failure. Historically, at this team, there hasn't been enough investment in engineering simulation tools, not just project management systems, but the core physics tools themselves. A car cannot be corrected quickly if the digital tools used to design it do not accurately predict how it will behave on track. Newey confirmed that investment is now being made in those tools, but cautioned that you don't rewrite and validate these tools overnight. Correlating them properly with the real car takes time. Newey has drawn on his years at Williams, McLaren, and Red Bull to restructure how the team operates internally. We're making big strides in our in-house facilities and production capabilities, he said, describing changes to processes that go beyond the car itself and into how the factory designs, builds, and validates every component before it reaches the track. 2026 marked Aston Martin's first season powered by Honda, following the championship-winning manufacturer's switch from Red Bull to a factory partnership with the Silverstone team. The partnership has been difficult from the start. Honda's power unit suffered vibration issues severe enough to affect the battery, and drivers reported feeling the vibrations directly through the car. Alongside the vibration problems, the team also worked through gearbox issues and drivability complaints across multiple race weekends. Honda's trackside general manager, Shintaro Orihara, acknowledged the power deficit compared to rivals, estimated by some reports at over 100 horsepower relative to the Mercedes and Red Bull powertrains units. A heavier chassis, a downforce shortfall, and an underpowered engine combined into a season stacked against the team from the opening race in Barcelona at the end of January. Rather than bringing small updates race by race like the rest of the grid, Newey chose to halt development on the current car for months. He called it directly. It was a painful decision, Newey said. While others have been adding performance, we've effectively been standing still in relative terms, so each weekend can feel more painful than the last. Under the sport's budget cap, spending resources on incremental fixes to a flawed base was judged less valuable than saving those resources for one large, decisive step. It was a gamble that meant accepting a difficult first half of the season for the possibility of a stronger second half, and it left the open question of whether the strategy was calculated foresight or a team unable to fix its car in real time. Rather than a routine mid-season refresh, The scale of the changes required the forward chassis to be rehomologated and crash-tested again, a process most teams avoid mid-season because of the cost and time it demands under the budget cap. Newey confirmed the specific contents of the upgrade in the team's interview. "We plan to introduce our upgrade in Hungary on both cars," he said. "The main structural elements remain the same. The chassis and gearbox architecture don't fundamentally change, but we've taken weight out of both, which required rehomologating and crash testing the forward chassis." He continued, "The front suspension is unchanged. The rear suspension is slightly revised. We've developed a new nose and substantially revised aerodynamic surfaces." Summarizing the scope, Newey said, "So, while the core structure is similar, it's a big aerodynamic package coupled with significant weight reduction. The target is to get very close to the weight limit." Reports indicate the AMR26 has been running roughly 10 to 15 kilograms over the minimum weight limit. This is not a full reinvention of the car's underlying architecture. It is a rebuild on the same core platform, built on Newey's belief that the concept can work once weight and drag are brought under control. Aston Martin's original plan reportedly targeted the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps for the upgrade's debut. That plan changed. Spa's long straights would expose the team's power deficit and make it difficult to isolate how much of any gain came from the chassis rather than the engine. The Hungaroring, a tight and twisting circuit that rewards cornering over straight-line speed, punishes a power deficit the least of any track on the calendar. Viewers should expect Aston Martin to continue struggling at Spa in the week before Hungary. That result will not reflect the upgrade. The car that matters is the one that rolls out of the garage 7 days later, at the final race before the summer break. Asked directly how much lap time the upgrade would deliver, Newey declined to give a figure. "We're predicting a large step, but I'm reluctant to put specific numbers out there because our simulation tools aren't yet as sophisticated or well correlated as they need to be," he said. Public estimates around the upgrade have varied widely, with some reports referencing gains as large as 2 seconds a lap, while sources closer to the team describe a chassis-side gain of more than 1 second, with additional tenths expected later from the engine. Even a full 2-second improvement would not have been enough to lift the AMR26 out of Q1 based on the gaps recorded at Silverstone, where Stroll finished qualifying more than 3.5 seconds off the pace-setting time. If fans expect a transformation measured in multiple seconds and receive a genuine but smaller step forward, that real progress risks being labeled a failure by comparison to the rumor. Newey's silence on a specific number reflects that risk directly. He would rather underpromise and let the stopwatch speak in Hungary than set an expectation the car cannot meet in front of the entire paddock. The upgraded Honda power unit is targeted for a different race entirely, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, the first event after the summer break. Honda's Orihara was clear about the scale of what to expect. "There is no magic in Formula One," he said. "So I don't think we're going to catch up with, let's say, Mercedes or RBPT by 1 step." He confirmed the target directly. "We are working hard to complete our job list to achieve bringing the new power unit to the Netherlands. That is our target." Under the FIA's ADUO system, which allows a lagging manufacturer additional in-season development opportunities, Honda gained the most tokens of any power unit supplier. Even so, Honda is using only part of that allowance now, describing the Zandvoort step as the first of 2. The performance development is step by step, so Netherlands is a first step to do a reasonable step, but we need another further step for the future. The full recovery, by Honda's own account, spans not 1 race, but 2 full seasons. Alonso's contract runs through the end of this season, and he turns 45 this month. He has said his decision on continuing into 2027 will be made during the summer break, which begins immediately after Hungary. "I don't have anything in mind, and after the summer I will take the decision," Alonso said. He added, "We have hopes for the second part of the year with improvement that we can be a little bit more competitive. We keep on working. But yeah, we need to see some results as well. Eventually, we need to see some of the upgrades to make the car faster. The last few years, some of the upgrades didn't make the car really fast as we wanted. So there are some things to prove with this year's upgrades, and we are all hoping for the best." Hungary also holds personal significance for Alonso. It was the venue of his first ever Grand Prix win. Newey has said he hopes visible progress will be enough to convince Alonso to stay. Fernando is really looking forward to the upgrade. Given his experience, his feel for the car, his ability to guide development, he's a tremendous asset. Within Aston Martin, the belief remains that Alonso is too fast to walk away, but Alonso himself has made clear one strong weekend will not be enough on its own. He wants proof of a trajectory across the second half of the season, not a single data point built around one upgrade. Beyond the car itself, Newey's interview revealed a more personal difficulty. He confirmed he was managing health issues through parts of last year, saying, "I'm okay now, but it's been a difficult period." He credited the team's engineers for absorbing the impact of his reduced involvement during that time, stating that the close collaboration within the team meant it did not significantly disrupt the project. Newey also acknowledged the motivation running through the factory despite the results. You walk around the AMR technology campus at night, and the lights are still on. There are a lot of late evenings, a lot of motivation, and a real determination to prove that we can do this, he said. We have the facilities, we have the people, we have huge amounts of talent. Two outcomes are possible once the Hungarian session begins. Either the upgrade marks the start of a genuine recovery, validating a strategy that sacrificed half a season for one decisive step, or it becomes one of the most closely watched upgrades in the paddock to fall short of its own build-up. The timeline ahead is layered. Spa will show continued struggle, Hungary will show the chassis and aerodynamic reveal, the summer break will bring Alonso's decision, Zandvoort will bring the engine step, and 2027 is where Honda and Newey both say the real fight begins. Newey has already confirmed the team is in the early research stages of its 2027 car, aiming for an earlier production release than the AMR26 received. He has even suggested the AMR26 itself could evolve through further significant versions before the season ends, meaning Hungary may not be the final word on this car either. Newey has explained almost everything about this car, the weight it lost, the surfaces it gained, the timeline it will follow. The one number he has not given is the one every fan is waiting for, and by his own admission, even he does not know it yet. Aston Martin's recovery was never going to happen in a single afternoon. It is being built one real, deliberate step at a time, the same way this channel is working toward its own next milestone. Every subscriber is a piece of that trajectory, not a number for its own sake. Be here when the AMR26 turns its first lap in Hungary, and be here for whatever comes next on this channel too.